Hi everybody, it's Oksana, and today I'm going to show you how to make this Elven inspired necklace. And just to show you here, this is one of my favorite styles. I made it a really long time ago. Finally doing a tutorial for it now. So these all might be slightly different because they're quite old, but just to show you some different colors, I have made quite a few of these. But this is the one that this video is on, that I'm going to be demonstrating on today, this silver and pink looking one. So if you want to see how I made this, then just keep watching. I'm starting with some 20 gauge dead soft copper wire, and this is the Artistic Wire brand, and it's this pink color. Of course you can use any wire or color that you want. But just to let you know, this is Artistic Wire, and I believe it's silver plated, and then it's coated to have this like a pink gold kind of shade to it. And then for my weaving wire, I'm using this wire right here from Pear Wire, 26 gauge silver plated. And this is also dead soft copper wire that has been silver plated. So for the 20 gauge, I cut two pieces that are really long. They're 24 inches long, and you don't need both of them to be that long, but it's a lot easier than trying to like figure out, you know, that the shorter wire is always in the right location and stuff. So I just cut them both long, and then one of them I'm going to end up trimming a little more than the other at the end. And then I'm keeping my weaving wire just on the spool. So what I did here, I know it's hard to see, but I bent these two in half so I can figure out where the center is. So 12 inches, and then 12 inches is this side, so total of 24. And then right here in the very center, I'm taking and I'm leaving myself a tail of a few inches of my silver wire. I'm putting it right in between these here, just starting right in the middle there, and I'm making a loop. Sorry, it is sliding around on me a lot. I just need to get started. Just two little single coils around that bottom wire. And then I'm making one around both. This is going to be a weaving pattern that I'm going to do. So it's going to go 4 wraps around the bottom. So now this time I'm doing 4. I did 2 here because it's like half. I'm going to end up doing 2 on the other side. But the normal pattern is 4 around the bottom. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, like this. 1 around both. So that's the pattern that I'm going to do. So here's up close a little view of this pattern. So what you want to do is you want to keep going. 4 wraps on the bottom, 1 around both. 4 on the bottom, 1 around both. And you're actually going to do this until, if you count these little top ones, so I have 1, 2. That's an easy way to count, you know, how many times you've done this pattern. So until you have counted them and you have made it 60. So I know that's a lot. This is kind of a lot of weaving here, but you want to go ahead and you want to do 60 on this side, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how I'm going to start doing the same thing on the other side. I'm going to do 60 on the other side as well. Alright, so here are my 60 repetitions of this weave, and then here, once you get to the end, and this is number 60, you want to wrap just around the bottom wire. 35, I did 35 little wraps. And in terms of measurements here, because you don't want to keep counting to see how many you have. So it's gonna roughly be like 5¼ inches, and then around just the single wire down to like almost 6 inches. So this way you can kind of keep checking when you start getting, you know, to 5 inches. You can actually count them and see how many more you need. So here on this side I have my tail of my wire. What I'm gonna do, let me hold it like this so you can see close up. Okay. So I'm gonna take another wire, and I'm gonna also leave a tail on that, and I'm gonna lay it right next to this one. So this one, you know, is on the back. The way I'm holding it, if I was holding it this way, it'd be on the front. So just put it wherever that other wire is, so they're just like right next to each other. And then I'm gonna I'm gonna put it in between. So here, if I hold it this way upside down, you can see that now the wire is like on the front a little bit. So I'm gonna do 1 and one more, 2, just like this. So it's even now. And now I'm gonna do, I'm trying to keep it together. At first it might slide around, but then once you've weaved a little bit, it won't. So 1 around both, 4 around just the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1 around both, and 4 around the bottom. So that's the pattern. We're just going to continue with it. So this is my center. I have both of my little tail ends of my wire here right next to each other, right at my center, and I have, you know, 60 this way. I'm going to do 60 this way, and then about, you know, 35 single little coils around this bottom one. And by the way, this is you know, 26 gauge weaving wire, but you can use 28, you can use, you know, different gauges. 28 would look nice too. You might have to do just a little bit more of these. And the key thing is keeping these sides even. Whatever you do on this side, you're going to do on this side. So that's why I'm counting and keeping track of everything. So you can use different number and different weaving wires. You just, you know, might have to adjust and just keep track of everything. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this side, and then I'll be back. Alright, so I finished both sides, and I'm back here to the central part. So you want to hold your piece on the same, in the same spot on both sides. So I counted 9 of these little, you know, the wraps that go around both wires. I counted 9 of those, and that's where I'm holding it on both sides, and I'm making sure that, you know, this is right in the center, these 2 little tail ends. And I am crossing it. I'm kind of keeping an eye on where that number 9 is, so that when I cross it, it ends up being even. And then as you see, these got not perfectly flat, so I'm just flattening them, and because my wires are coated, I do run the risk of scratching them, so I am using some nylon pliers here to flatten them down. So now I should have a pretty symmetrical little spot here that kind of meets in the same location. I'm going to try and keep that together like this. And now I'm going to count my wraps again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, so then what you want to do is keep counting up to about 27. So not starting over, but you know, if this was 9, keep going like 10, 11, 12. So total from the very beginning to here is about 27, or it is 27, but you know, you can do roughly, because this is, it'll still be okay if you miscount by one or something. So then I'm just making a little bend here, like this. And then I'm making a little loop. So if this was 25, then it's going to be 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Then I'm starting to bend it again. And write this down as well, because the most important thing is that your two sides are similar. Not that they are identical to mine with the exact number of wraps that I do, but that they have the same number of wraps from one side to the other side. Okay, so now I am, let me straighten this out a little bit. So I bent it this way. Here is my wire. So you can kind of play around and use your fingers to try to bend these little areas to make them, you know, more rounded. And kind of more open. Okay, so here we go. So like this, it takes a little bit just to shape it and stuff with your fingers. So now, what you want to do is, looking at this side, where this wire is on top, what you're going to do is you're going to bend this down like this. And this wire here, what you can do with it is you can just bring it straight back, or let me kind of pull it up so you can see, or you can make this little loop with it using your fingers or some round nose pliers. It's totally up to you. So see this little loop that I made? So you can have that, or you can just bring it straight back. What you want is you want this to go through here. So I think the easiest way to do that is just to maneuver it this way. There we go. Okay, so you want this wire to be here. And then this just kind of be in this little corner. Don't worry about these little wires. You can move them out of your way if you want for now. And then this wire with the little wraps around it, I'm going to bring it to the back. So now you want to do the same exact thing on this other side. So we're bending it, we're counting the numbers. I counted about, you know, this is 25, you know, it goes 9 and then 25, and then I make this little loop, bring it back down, make this little loop. We have, here's from the side, the wire from this loop is going here, and then the wire from this part here is going in the back. So I'm just doing the same thing on this other side now. So on this side, the wire is going to go this way and under, just like it is on this side. It's going under. I know I was kind of holding it this way when I first, you know, started wrapping. So now, since the front is more apparent now, I am holding it this way. So this way, looping on, this is about 25 up to here. Then I counted, there's about 14 loops in this little circle here. And now we're just bending this up. And we are making a little bend here. And just like on the other side, I'm going to make this little curly shape. And I'm going to make sure my wire ends up right in here. Just going to flatten that down a little bit. Okay. And then this going straight back. So now the trick is just to play around with this and get it all to have a nice shape to it. So if it seems like these two little curls are just kind of overlapping each other, you can't get them to be lined up next to each other, open it up this way a little more to give them room, and then also kind of twirl them a bit more with your fingers. Just like curl them this way a little more until you have it so they're nice and next to each other and not like in each other's way overlapping or anything. So now you want to flip it over because we want to lock these in place. So you want to have your curls lined up nicely here, just like all centered, lined up, and make sure that they don't change position when you're in the back because we're going to be securing them in place. So we have these two wires here. This is from this curl, and then this is from this one here. And we're going to be using those to secure these curls in place. I'm going to take this, I'm wrapping around this thing. So I'm pulling it down in there and back towards me. And same this, wrapping it around, down in here, and then I'm pulling that towards me. Okay, so these shifted a little bit out of place. I'm just going to fix them a little bit. I'm going to use my pliers to just kind of flatten them up a little bit. There we go. So you do want them touching because you want them to cover up where we wrapped them there. Alright, so now I think that they're pretty even. I'm going back here. These are the two wires that are just kind of wrapped. So what I'm going to do with these two wires is we just need to secure them. Just cut them and secure them. And this is why something could be shorter because we're going to be cutting off quite a bit here. So I'm going to cut these fairly short like this. Then I'm going to use my, let me zoom in here so you can really see. Basically, you just have to tug those ends away. You don't have to do it exactly like me, but just get them out of the way somewhere. So I'm just tucking mine kind of in here, just turning it and tucking it in to get it out of the way. There we go. So from the front, that's not really noticeable. And now you want to make sure that these two portions are the same. That one isn't like more open than the other because, you know, they will shift around. You can get them to be a little tighter, a little larger. It's really up to you, whatever look you like. You know, you can really open this up, or you can kind of really squish it down. You can move them this way as well to have them, you know, lower, higher, etc. So here's the two little wires that we have here that we made sure were coming out this way. So for those wires, let me just flatten this a little bit first actually. There we go. So for those wires, what we're going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to make a loop kind of manually by hand. This part is slightly tricky because you have to make this side match this side and you're doing it by hand. That's the only way it's tricky. And then I'm making another loop this way. So I want my loops to be such that they kind of sit on top of this weave. They don't necessarily, you know, they don't go inside of it. So they're kind of right on the outside here, like this. And then I'm taking this wire and I'm putting it back through here, like that. And then with this wire, I'm holding this little loop in place and I'm wrapping this wire around once. And then on the second time, I am cutting it and leaving just a little tail so that I can do just a little loop here, like this. And you can kind of adjust these with your fingers. So now the tricky part is doing the same thing on the side and having it be more or less matching. There we go. Alright, so that is similar. So now I'm gonna wrap around 1, 2. I'm gonna trim it and curl. Oops, I just realized I did it the wrong way. I wrapped it the wrong way. And then I ended up curling it the wrong way. I'm not being very careful. Alright, let's try again. 1, 2. And curling it this way. There we go. Much better. Alright, so now all that's left is to add a little gem in here, or a little bead of some sort. So, you need a little bead that you can slide onto these 2 wires. That will, you know, fit nicely into this hole. You can do several beads, or just one big bead, whatever works for you. Alright, so I brought my wires to the front because they were kind of, actually I think they were sticking down, but anyways, I put a tiny little seed bead, this crystal bead, and another tiny seed bead. Seed beads are a good way to help with spacing. Like this bead on its own wasn't quite large enough. There would be a gap up here, but with the 2 seed beads, it makes it the perfect height. So now I'm wedging these 2 wires in between these 2 curls. So they kind of like go back there. And basically we just need to find some kind of little gap or hole to push it through. So I'm just pushing it through and it's coming out the back right here. So that's a good spot for it. So I'm just going to pull that. And then same thing on this side. Basically you just are trying to bring these from the front to the back. There we go. So now they are not visible. The wires, they're not visible anywhere here at all. They're just going straight back. And here on the back, you just want to wrap it around something. So I'm just sticking it around these two wires here and just wrapping it. Now I'm just going to wrap it once around just the pink single wire. If I can squeeze it in there. Let's see here, just because you want to secure these before you cut them. There we go. So now you can cut it and pinch it down. And then same thing here. It doesn't have to be exactly the same thing as me. You can just wrap it around whatever is most convenient and easiest for you to reach. You can wrap it a few more times. I think I'm going to do this one just a few more times. That is pretty much it. All that's left to do now is the chain. So what you want to do for the chain, I do use pre-made chain for this. So you just want to hold this, you know, on your neck, kind of lay it on your neck and figure out how long you want the chain to be. Just, you know, by actually using the chain and seeing how low or high you want this to fit, and then, you know, cut your chain accordingly and just attach it with jump rings here and here, and, you know, attach your little clasp to your chain, and that's it. So I'm going to go do that and I'll show you. So here's the finished piece with the chain attached. So thank you so much for watching, and if you want to support me, click on the little eye in this corner, and if you don't see it, sometimes I think on phones it doesn't show up, you can also see it on my channel. But anyways, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!